today we're going treasure hunting in the Cave of 1,000 Treasures, which, interestingly enough, doesn't actually drop 1,000 treasures. In fact, it's the only dungeon in the entire game that doesn't have any untiered drops. That doesn't mean you can't get untiered drops from it, though. Thanks to Dungeon Modifiers, there's actually a few possibilities, specifically on Grade A and S. On Grade A, there's Prismimic, that can drop a bunch of untiered items. It's probably our best shot at getting an untiered drop from Cave of 1,000 Treasures. Then on Grade S, there's the Wanderer Boss Dungeon Modifier, that can drop Huntsman's Volley. But most interestingly, the Souvenir Dungeon Modifier on Cave of 1,000 Treasures can give the Cloak of the Planewalker. So technically, it's possible to get a Cloak of the Planewalker from Cave of 1,000 Treasures, even though it's not a Cave of 1,000 Treasures drop, since the souvenir items specifically set for each dungeon individually. It says an iconic reward. That doesn't mean anything, though. It's just one of the untiered items from the dungeon, and usually it's the most iconic one. But then you have stuff like Cogbold Steamworks, where the iconic reward is the Chain Dagger. Of course, that was released after Dungeon Modifiers, so they didn't know which reward was going to be iconic, but it definitely wasn't going to be Chain Dagger. That thing's not very good. Alright, Cave of 1,000 Treasures can drop... Cave of 1,000 Treasures can drop from 2 locations in the realm currently. There's the Djinns, like in the old realm, but there's also those little ghosts in Shipwreck Cove. Those are such a good way of getting Cave of 1,000 Treasures. If it weren't for those, this would not be a reasonable thing to farm. I'm doing this even though it's not modified because there's the shiny jewel-like katana. That's not an untiered item, but if I get it, it counts. Because that's way rarer than any of the stuff I'm going for. So this will be our first run of the day. I want to try and get a lot at Cave of 1,000 Treasures, because it's still not a common dungeon, but it's so much more accessible than it was before. I'd still say it's more accessible than some of the stuff you find in the veteran biomes. Like High-Tech Terror, for example, that drops from 1 enemy in the veteran biomes. It's a pretty common drop, but the enemy's not common. It's an uncommon enemy in the Deep Sea Abyss, and that's the only thing in the entire realm rework that can drop it. There were a couple realm encounters that could drop it, but they got disabled because they didn't work properly. I could only run the Grade A Cave of 1,000 Treasures, but we're not going to be seeing Cave of 1,000 Treasures all that... Oh, I didn't see that chest there. The chest does not drop the Cave of 1,000 Treasures, but it does spawn the little ghosts, and those do drop it. So maybe we'll stay here and try to clear the ghost that it spawns. It's weird that the Shipwreck Cove has this rare special enemy that acts like a mini-boss, when none of the other biomes have that. Like, sure, there's the set-piece bosses, but every biome has set pieces. Only the Shipwreck Cove has the Mimic Chest mini-boss thing. Of course, they do have some stronger enemies. There's the big Shaitan skull-looking guy in Risen Hell. Oh, look, it's one of these from the Mardi Gras event. Oh, it looks like I'm infinite loading. Well, that's just great. We're 2 dungeons in and I'm getting infinite loaded. I'm gonna have to take a 10-minute break. I'm back, and it looks like the Shipwreck Cove beacon is gone, so let's go get it back, I guess. Oh, and we already got another Cave of 1,000 Treasures. Okay, this one's got Key Fairy. Key Fairy can't drop any untiered items, but you can get keys, so that's something. Not useful keys, because it's Cave of 1,000 Treasures. It'll give like a forest maze or something. But it could be worse. It could be Demetus, who doesn't drop anything of note. Our second Cave of 1,000 Treasures, gosh. This is kind of a disaster already, but anyways. Key Fairy, what are you giving me? It'd be kind of neat if the Key Fairy could drop the Keychain Cutlass. It'd be one of those weird... Oh, it's technically available out season. Spider Den. Why not? I'll run that. Like, you've got stuff like the Syndicate armors and the Syndicate abilities and the Syndicate takeover bosses. You can't get Syndicate takeover on Cave of 1,000 Treasures, so I didn't mention it earlier, but they've got the most UTs you can get out of any boss. And Keychain Cutlass only drops from the Keeper normally, and then if the Keeper's not up, there's no way to get it, so why not make it a drop from the Key Fairy? It'd be fun, it'd be interesting, and how else can you explain the Key Fairy having all those keys? Oh, we already got our next one. It's not modded, though. We've yet to see one with a mod that can actually drop untiered items, and when the Huntsman's Volley is pretty rare, that's concerning, though I think I have a reasonable untiered item chance from the Prismimic if we see that. And Souvenir is about a 1 to 2% chance, depending on if it's Grade A or Grade S. It says it triples or quadruples. That's just a lie, though. It adds a separate roll completely for the untiered item. That's probably roughly 4 times the original rate. But the original rate here is 0, so it doesn't really do anything here. Well, it does do something here, but the modifier's description wouldn't make you think that, because the descriptions are super vague and don't make sense. What even is an iconic reward? talked about that earlier, but I always see people asking, hey, what does iconic reward mean? Or at least when Dungeon Modifiers were new, not so much now, but they'll say, what's an iconic reward? What on earth does iconic reward mean? Well, it means one item. It means one specific item. It doesn't mean all the items. It means one. It doesn't increase the chance. It just gives you a new chance that's a little higher than the original chance. So with the souvenir, it's possible to get 2 of the original item, plus shiny items exist now. So you can get 3 of the item with like a Sprite World. Souvenir, I believe the souvenir item for Sprite World is the Staff of Extreme Prejudice, not the Cloak of the Planewalker. So you can get a regular one from the boss, you can get a shiny one from the boss, and then you can get a 3rd one from Souvenir. You can have 3 Staff of Extreme Prejudice from a single Sprite World if you got lucky enough and had the right dungeon mod. Actually, you might be able to get 4 if you had Prismimic, because Prismimic can drop the Staff of Extreme Prejudice as well. And I believe it has the shiny in its loot table, or at least it did for one event. It might not have the shinies anymore. I'm pretty sure it does, though. And so you could get 4 Staff of Extreme Prejudice from a single Sprite World. I need to be careful in this biome, actually, because the enemies here are deceptively dangerous. You see, like, a little tiny skeleton enemy? Look how much damage it did. It did, like, 1/4 of my health in a single shotgun. And there was 3 of them. You could instantly die to that. And they're a tiny little enemy in a biome that doesn't seem like it'd be that threatening. Okay, here's our next one. Survivor. That's not gonna help. Survivor is just health potions, and not even that many more health potions. It basically does absolutely nothing. Most modifiers do absolutely nothing. It's a pretty bad system. Though for the 2 mods that do things, it's pretty cool, but none of the interesting mods can appear here besides Spirit Snake Swarm. And the Spirit Snake Swarm mod isn't even interesting. It's pretty much just if you want the Serpentine Memory Orb or the Snake Invasion 1 dungeon, which can drop the shiny pet skin. It is not very common compared to some of the other sources of the pet, but it is technically possible to get the shiny when that event isn't running. And that makes it pretty much the rarest thing in the entire game, I'd have to think, because the mod's already not super common. And it doesn't work on a lot of dungeons. The snakes only spawn off of weaker enemies, and some dungeons don't even have weaker enemies. And then you have to actually get the Snake Invasion 1, which isn't guaranteed either, unless it's like a snake pit. If you did snake pits, you mod snake pits to have the modifier. But still, that's a rare variant of a pet skin, and pet skins are already rare, and it's from a dungeon that's really hard to find. So the golden primal snake, rarest thing in the game, probably. We're not going for that today, though. We're going for the other thing. Well, we're not going for the other thing. We're going for an untiered drop. Of course, I haven't even seen a grade A or S Cave of 1,000 Treasures. I don't know how likely it is to be grade A or S. I know it's possible. They reworked dungeon modifiers at some point and made it possible for every dungeon to have grade A or S. Here's a spider den. Even if it's grade A, it's probably going to be one of the useless modifiers. There's so many useless ones. You got rewards boost. That can't make this boss drop an untiered item. I guess it boosts the shiny chance, but shinies are boring. And there's the survivor mods and unprepared mods. Those are both considered reward mods. Unprepared isn't even good. It's bad. It's the opposite of survivor. You have a lower chance to get health potions. And then, of course, survivor is a higher chance to get health potions. Those are 2 completely useless mods that take up the reward mod slot, which is the slot that we need to get the mods we want. Then there's Skin Hunter, but you can't get Skin Hunter on Cave of 1,000 Treasures because it doesn't drop a skin. And unlike the Souvenir, the Skin Hunter doesn't show up on every dungeon. It only shows up on ones that already have a skin. Souvenir, for some reason, every single dungeon that's made has to have a souvenir selected for it. So like even Oryx Sanctuary, which can't have dungeon modifiers, the souvenir drop for that's Divinity. There's no way to get dungeon modifiers on Oryx Sanctuary under normal circumstances, though. It did happen for like one update. You could get modifiers on Oryx Sanctuary, and it caused some weird stuff to happen. But during that time, you could have gotten a souvenir Divinity, which is kind of interesting. Not a Skin Hunter, though, because that mod doesn't work on every dungeon. I'm already running out of the little ghosts. There were a bunch of them at the start, and I was getting easy key caves. Now I'm not seeing them as much. I could go to the other shipwreck coves and look for more. Maybe give these ones time to respawn. I'm basically the only one in this realm, aside from a couple people in whatever other biomes. I haven't even seen a Cave of 1,000 Treasures in a while. I should probably have thought about just how rare this actually is to happen before deciding, yeah, I can make a video about that. The problem was, like, I didn't have any other good ideas. Okay, well, there's our next treasure cave. It's not modded, so great. I think Beach Zone's actually not able to spawn with dungeon modifiers at all, even though it does have a souvenir drop. The souvenir drop for Beach Zone is one of the drinks, I believe Lime Jungle Bay, which is really interesting. That's the only souvenir drop in the entire game. that isn't an untiered item. They could have done that for Cave of a Thousand Treasures, made the Souvenir drop a Ring of Exalted Health, since that was the only thing anyone would run Cave of a Thousand Treasures for at the time. But nowadays we have the shiny Jewel-Eye Katana. I guess if that was the Souvenir drop, people would just mod the keys and then get it, but the thing about the shiny Jewel-Eye Katana is that they bugged the release of it like twice, and so it was super common and dropped from everywhere a couple times. So it's not really that exciting as an item. Like, if you get it from Cave of a Thousand Treasures, sure, that's one of the rarest drops in the game. But most of the people who got it when it was from everywhere. You'd find it in red demon chests in the mountains. This is one of the weird encounters that exist. People would think this was a ghost ship and they'd run up to it, and this water does like 80 damage per tile, so they die instantly and then they complain about it. And I thought Deca was going to address it, but they never did. It still hasn't been addressed. Oh, there's a Cave of a Thousand Treasures. So this has been unchanged completely. Even the boss sprite is still a placeholder. That's just the ghost ship. Most of the stuff in the Realm Rework does have art now, but some things don't, and Bilgewater's Galleon is one of them. It's still entirely made of placeholder art. And it makes sense for the minions and the cannons to be placeholder art, because that's stuff from Deadwater Docks. And Deadwater Docks is Bilgewater's dungeon, so it makes sense that the stuff from Bilgewater's dungeon would be used in the Bilgewater's Galleon encounter. But not the boss sprite, though. That could get changed. I mean, it's a boat. I'd also change the water to be the dead water from Deadwater Docks instead of the crystal water from Crystal Cavern. Why hasn't that been done, actually? Why is it the crystal water from Crystal Cavern and not the dead water from Deadwater Docks? Maybe because if it was the dead water from Deadwater Docks, it would just feel like Deadwater Docks, but it needs to feel like Deadwater Docks. It is Deadwater Docks, after all. I don't know why I'm fighting this. It doesn't drop anything I want. The event right here is Barnacle Pasture, I think. It's like, who cares? It's Barnacle Pasture. It's not usable by Sorcerer. Well, there's 2 ghosts in there, but I can't get in there. I can throw parrots in there, and then if I get a Cave of a Thousand Treasures, I can be sad. I didn't get one, though. It's fine. You'd think a Grade A wouldn't be that rare. I'm going to assume the chance of this being Grade A is the same as Candyland. And Candyland... Can Candyland be Grade A? I don't think I've seen a Candyland at Grade A either. Oh, no. What have I done to myself? Oh, look, it's another one of these chests. Maybe I can get a treasure cave from this thing. I did not. Great. Here's a beach bum. I'm going to leave the beach bum alive, though. Finally! Another Cave of a Thousand Treasures. And of course, it's not modded. Not even Grade B. This'll give the ghosts some more time to respawn, though. Hopefully. Well, I'm on a dry streak again. I've cleared about half of this Shipwreck Cove. Not even half. I've cleared almost all of it. There's not going to be very many ghosts left. I haven't had... Oh, I just have to complain and I get one. Still, there aren't very many ghosts left overall. I mean, they're gonna respawn. There's always more ghosts. There's always gonna be more ghosts. No matter what I do, I can never beat the ghosts. But it'll take a bit for some new ghosts to show up, since I cleared all the ones that were here at the start of the realm. And I still haven't seen a single Grade A Cave of a Thousand Treasures, or even Grade S. Grade S is rare, but whatever. I haven't seen either of Grade A or S. This one was Grade B, though. There's a mystery stat potion. Nope. This was Grade C. There's another Jewel-Eye Katana. What's the mystery stat potion gonna be? Vitality. I got one of those from the boss normally. Oh, here's our next one. It's Grade D, of course. I'm double loading? Okay. I was worried that was gonna be another infinite load for a second. It's okay. Another infinite load would have given me an excuse to give up, which may have actually been better considering the disaster that this has turned out to be. Even more of a disaster than all my other stupid rare item chases. I guess I could try modifying a key if things don't work out. The thing about the Cave of a Thousand Treasures is that it doesn't even have a normal dungeon key. You have this treasure map that you can only get from one specific daily quest. This is not Shipwreck Cove. The treasure map only comes from one daily quest and getting level 20 on Ninja for the first time. There's no other way to get it. You can't even buy it with gold. You'd think that they'd start selling it in the shop now that it's a random dungeon that you can just find normally. But no, you can't. You have to do the run the table quest if you want treasure maps. So if you want to mod keys, you gotta work for them, which I guess means they could make Souvenir for Cave of a Thousand Treasures that's shiny, and people wouldn't be able to just buy a ton of keys. Instead, they'd pay people a stupid amount of items to open modded Cave of a Thousand Treasures keys. Okay, well, this is a guaranteed stat potion, which means we're guaranteed to get a stat potion from the boss. The boss has a pretty good potion chance anyway, though I believe in this dungeon it isn't actually guaranteed. So guaranteed stat potion does something here in a solo. Wow. 2 potions? How many have I even run? It's this button. 16. Okay. A feel like it should be more, but I also feel like it should be less. The ghost population has once again risen. So there's our next one already. Unmodded, naturally. No. Wow, grade B, Key Fairy? Will it be another Spider Den key? Pirate Cave? Oh, wow. Oh, of course the Magic Woods can be grade S. And even then, it's still Key Fairy instead of something useful. The next Cave of 1,000 Treasures is going to be grade A. And it's going to be Prismimic, because I think Prismimic's going to have the best chance. Though, getting the Souvenir Planewalker would be really interesting. I'm not sure if anyone's ever had that happen before, because who's running lots of Cave of 1,000 Treasures? And when is that Cave of 1,000 Treasures having Souvenir? And when are you actually getting the Souvenir drop from a Cave of 1,000 Treasures? There's another treasure cave. Grade C Pet Collector, though. This one's kind of interesting. It's not an untiered item, but if I get the Pet Collector drop, I mean, it'll be something. I won't count it as an untiered drop, because obviously I want to get an untiered drop. Okay, 25% chance to have something cool happen. Oh, I got it. Common avian egg. Let's hatch this avian egg and see what we get. Goldfinch. That's one of the common pets. Avian actually has a bunch of rare pets you can get. There's these 3 that I don't have. It's actually 4. Those are all in the common tier. There's so many common birds, and you can get all of these from hatching. You just don't see that in some of the other families, like humanoid, for example. One of the biggest pet families. There's only 2 common pets. And then most of the other ones you can't even get from hatching. This is the only rare thing you can get from hatching. The rest are common, or you can't get them. Nope. Come on. Oh, we actually got the treasure cave. 2 grade C ones. Whatever, what have we got? Guaranteed stat potion? Heroic regeneration? Give me the guaranteed stat potion. It doesn't really matter since I'm not picking up the stat potion anyways, but I'm gonna run it. I guess guaranteed stat potion here guarantees 2 stat potions. That's how it works in most dungeons now, actually. They added a bonus second chance for a stat potion, so you can get up to 2 from every dungeon that would normally have only dropped 1 every time for solos. And guaranteed stat potion means you always get the bonus pot, which in Cursed Library means you get 4 potions if it's guaranteed stat potion. So the guaranteed stat potion mod is one of the actually really good ones. Keep an eye out for that if you're looking at grade C dungeons. The realm closed. I'll try to get 1 more, and then we go to Oryx, and then I don't want to go to a new realm, so I might just give up there. I'm not trying very hard, because I know that this is a ridiculously rare thing, and it's even rarer than I thought it was going to be. So I messed up, but it wouldn't be a hunting for a rare item video if I didn't never actually get the rare drop. Now if I finish this quick, I might have time to find another one before Oryx happens. Nope, I'm too slow. And I didn't get the thingy. There is a key fairy though, I could try to get that. There's the Oryx lag, and the Hive. You know, with 4 key fairies on a Godlands dungeon, you'd think I'd get a Godlands dungeon key, but I got all lowlands stuff. That's kind of miserable for key fairy. Key fairy is good now, but not on low-level dungeons, I guess. And they glaped when I teleported. Okay, this is the realest person there is. Oh, hello.